Agut and Arv Shabbos, this week's Parshas Shemos. Parshas Shemos, we have a turning point in Klal Yisrael, a pivotal moment in our history, and that is the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu and the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu and his emergence as the leader of Klal Yisrael. And one of the most famous scenes in the entire Torah is Moshe Rabbeinu by the snab, by the burning bush. And it's at that point where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Moshe Rabbeinu that he's going to have to lead Bnei Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. He's going to be the one that's going to go back, and he's going to have to really take charge. And Moshe Rabbeinu was very taken aback. And there's a very interesting exchange, a very famous exchange, that the Pardes Yosef explains in a beautiful way. And I'll say the exchange first from the pasuk, and then I'll explain how the Pardes Yosef explains it. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, "Vayomer elav Hashem," where Moshe Rabbeinu was saying that the nation is not going to listen to me, and Hashem says to him, "Mazeh biyadecha," what's in your hand? Vayomer mate, says there's a stick, so he tells him to throw it to the ground, and it turns into a snake, and then Moshe runs away, and then Hashem tells him, "Shlach yodcha ve'echos beznavei," grab the snake by its tail. The Pardes Yosef explains what this exchange is really all about, and what it is HaKadosh Baruch Hu trying to teach Moshe Rabbeinu and show Moshe Rabbeinu what it's going to take to be a leader. How do we see this in the Psukim? Let's read it again. Vayomer elav Hashem. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, "Mazeh biyadecha," what is in your hand? Meaning to say, what are you thinking about leading Klal Yisrael? What do you think it takes to be a leader of Klal Yisrael? And Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Vayomer mata." He says it's a stick, a staff, and that a staff represents discipline, like to discipline someone with a staff. So with a stick. So Moshe Rabbeinu was saying, I think you have to be a disciplinarian to lead a nation. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu, if you're going to do that, if you're just going to have discipline, and force discipline on everybody, and we see it all over the world, it's a terrible thing for the people who are in countries, the communist countries and countries like North Korea, where people are just forced into doing everything. It's a terrible thing. We can't have that. And what's going to happen is, Hashem says, it's going to turn into a nachash. A nachash represents poison. It's going to turn into poison. That people are going to rebel eventually. You can't lead a nation like that. So at that point, Moshe Rabbeinu says, well, then I guess I'll have to go to the other side. Vayanas Moshe mipanav, he runs away, which is Moshe Rabbeinu's nature anyway. Moshe was anav gadol mikol adam. He was the most humble person ever in the world. So Hashem says, well, you can't just run away and not do anything. So that's where he says, the Pardes Yosef explains, take the snake, grab onto it by the tail. You have to have some discipline. And he's trying to teach Moshe Rabbeinu a lesson. And the lesson is that to lead Klal Yisrael, you have to be a leader, but you can't have only discipline. But you have to have some discipline. I think it was FDR. He had a motto: "Speak softly and carry a big stick." That's really what Hashem is telling Moshe Rabbeinu here. He's telling Moshe Rabbeinu, you have to discipline people, but to a point. Echos biznavai, grab onto the tail. You don't have to have such a firm. You don't have to be such a firm disciplinarian. And this is a lesson not just for Moshe Rabbeinu, but it's a lesson for any leader in any type of leadership position, or us as parents, for all of us who are parents, or anyone who's in any kind of position where they are leading, or where they are leading people, or teaching children. This is just such an important lesson. You can't just be the ultimate disciplinarian and think, well, I'll discipline my people, my employees, my workers, my children, my students, and then that everything will be great because we'll have discipline. No, you have to ease up on that, but you can't ease up completely and make everything a free for all. You have to be echos biznava, grab onto the tail a little bit. It has to be some discipline. I think this is a lesson how all of us we could learn to lead our life, and I think it's a fascinating insight by the Pardes Yosef into what this exchange was. Have a wonderful Shabbos.